Good morning. My name is Peggy Lagodny, and I'm a worship associate of this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Cleveland. It's good to be with you this morning here in person or on one of our internet platforms. Welcome. We come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps find the answers to some of our bigger questions. Welcome. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, and different backgrounds. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you love, know that you are welcome here. We especially welcome any guests who are worshiping with us for the first time today, either here with us physically or joining us in the cyber world. If you are interested in more information on who we are, we invite you to fill out one of the guest cards in the pew rack in front of you. You can place that card in the offering plate when it comes around later in the service. If you're following us online, please go to our internet website, uucleveland.org. And as we enter sacred space, there is a little bit of housekeeping. First thing is we, of course, are back in COVID form. On the back of your order of service is a little QR code. Would you please, before you leave the service or sometime today, register to say you were here in case someone does come down with COVID. We can let you know. There's also a bit.ly link, and you can also access the form through your web browser using the link. And if you would please take a moment to silence your phones or anything else that has an audible alarm. Would you please take out your yellow pew card and join me in the words of the Chalice lighting. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
As Angel Kyoto Williams Sensei reminds us, it's the community's job to figure out how we can stretch into the so-called margins to broaden our understanding and the ability to be inclusive. Inclusivity is not how do we make you a part of what we are, but how do we become more of what you are. So may we increasingly recognize one another as pieces of ourselves and draw closer to beloved community as we enter worship together today. In just a moment, we're going to sing hymn number 2, Down the Ages We Have Trod, in the gray hymnal. But before we do that, I invite you to take a moment to greet one another, being mindful of any dots on name tags that say don't get too close, because I know we're back in the red zone with COVID, but feel free to wave at folks and at least meet one another's eyes for a few moments. Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. If you're joining us online today, I invite you to put any joys or concerns you want to share with everyone in the comments below. We share a stone of mourning and solidarity today in the wake of the most recent mass shooting at a grade school in Texas. And today we also honor those who lost their lives in military service, hoping that their efforts would contribute to a world of peace, liberty, and justice for every person. Also today, a stone of gratitude to our lay pastoral care team, who maintain meaningful connection with so many members who can't be here in person, as well as those experiencing times of grief or hardship. Thank you. I invite you to come forward and place any stones in the water that represent joys or concerns that you're carrying with you today. And of course, I encourage you to share those joys or concerns with one another after the service or during the week. In sharing our joys, we hope that they are magnified, and in sharing our burdens, we hope that they are lightened. I invite you forward now. We place a stone for all of those joys or concerns shared online today. And a stone for those things we carry with us that are not yet ready to find expression.
Well, good morning. How lucky am I that I get to come here on a Sunday and talk to a whole congregation of people about video games? And how lucky am I? I'm a big proponent and advocate, especially for video games, not least because they've gotten so much better than they ever were in the past. We are many, many eons past an Italian plumber wanders around and steps on walking, mushrooms type of thing. And specifically, for myself, speaking for it, I really love this new class of things we call open world games. And an open world game is exactly what it sounds like. It's not bounded by anything. It's this expansive, exploratory world you get to spend time in and enjoy. And the graphics have gotten amazing. Especially during the pandemic, I found myself finding great relief in the freedom and the openness of sort of these spaces. At the same time, I've become aware of the kind of arrogance that comes with controlling a digital character that's way more powerful and able than anything I can do in my personal, physical life. Oh my goodness, I get to jump around everywhere. I never get tired. There's nothing possibly stopping me from doing all the things I want to do. And of course, if you're playing a video game, you come across these challenges, these puzzles, these scenarios you have to navigate, and every single one of them is designed for me to win. How convenient. Oh, I have to do this task, oh, I have to do this thing. Well, here are all the resources to make sure you can accomplish it and you have a fun time doing it. My favorite part of these open world games is the map. Any point in time, I'm lost or confused, don't know where I am, press a little button, top-down view, exactly where I am, where all the things are around me. I can even put a little point down on the map, just like a Google Maps situation, and it'll show me exactly how to get there. Just as simple as can be. It's like a little GPS. And of course, even better than that, if I make a certain, level of progress or things like that, and then I'm done for a little while, I can put it away, and then I can boot right back up and start right where I was. No need to travel around, no need to repeat things. They've gotten so good and so sort of lush and beautiful. It also became, to me, an invitation to get back into the world. Again, especially with the pandemic, as this thing to navigate. It was a chance to walk and explore and hike and do all these other sorts of things. The world is my sandbox too, I thought. But video games lied to me because of this whole character situation, let me tell you what. I've been trying to hike more and more and get out in the world, and the world is nothing like this. The world is nothing like navigating a video game, let me tell you what. Video game path is something where, if you come across a scenario, if I'm coming to these steps, and I'm my video game character, I'm not going to walk down these steps. I'm going to jump and do a double somersault, and I'm going to wander forward. It's going to be completely fine. And in real life, I'm like, ooh, there's no railing here. Hold on a moment. Even more beautiful and more real, but the world is also very humbling, the actual experience of it. In the real world, there is not necessarily a map. In the real world, the challenges don't necessarily have easy solutions. In the real world, the trail is not something to be jumped off on. The trail is a gift. It's there to support myself and allow me to navigate the world safely. The good thing about video games to me is they get to make the world abstract. And that's part of why they're, to me, really interesting and useful. But they call these sandbox games, these open world games. And they call them that for a reason. Because a sandbox is a safe place to remake the world around you. You get to pile up a mountain here, you get to make a little valley here. But what anyone who knows the world also knows that video games is not the only thing in the world that helps us abstract it. Think about, obviously, something like television and social media, obviously. That's an abstraction of the world. But how about something even more close to home, like shopping for produce in a grocery store, spending a little time on the golf course, or even living in a beautiful planned community like the ones we have here in the Heights. These are all abstractions of the world. And there's nothing wrong with abstracting the world. Sometimes it's very important and very necessary. But the other lesson I sort of realize is that anyone on the ground knows that, you can measure a mountain in terms of its size, in terms of its shape, how many meters it is above sea level. But actually getting on that terrain and dealing with a mountain face to face, you measure it in how many trees you pass, how many bird songs you hear. You navigate streams by finding bridges. You always experience it as a person with muscles that ache and lungs that fail you. I'm not going to stop playing video games, but I have learned how much they manipulate my own sense of the world. And a thing to note is that it's worth seeing the world the way that it is. It requires us to make a decision about how we want to engage it, and to then live our lives in this much more intentional way. It forces us to embrace humility, but also courage. It's the kind of courage that actually allows us to get out of that bird's eye view, to not have the convenience to jump to the map, and to actually see the world as it is from the ground and for real.
We come to a time in our service that some call prayer, some call meditation. Our words come from a publication called Soul Matters, and it's called Widening the Circle. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, let your body relax. Be here in this moment. Open your hearts, open your minds. Is it possible that being on the inside leaves you out of the loop? What if the margins aren't narrow? What if that space of exclusion is also a position of perspective? What if being shut out allows you to understand the insiders better than they understand themselves? Why do so many seek the safety of that inner circle anyway? Don't we know that the circles not only keep others out, but also the air? Haven't we learned that it's on the edge of circles that hate makes its home? So even if you weren't among the ones who put the circle in place, by allowing it to linger, don't you carry the burden of responsibility as well? What if who we are doesn't end at the barriers of our own skin? What if sin is believing that you can put the puzzle together with only the pieces that belong to you? What if heaven is the moment you realize that none of us can get there alone? What if the only true freedom lies in the willingness to fight against that which imprisons someone else? And what if all these questions are a matter of life and death? Or is it a matter of dying to live? After all, didn't the Nazarene say we must lose our life in order to find it? Haven't all the sages and all the haven't all the sages said the solitary self must perish for the larger we to live? If that is true, then let us widen the circle until it breaks. For as long as the circle exists, pieces and parts of ourselves will always lie on the other side of the line. So let us push, pull, twist, and tear, dig underneath and climb over the top, do whatever it takes to meet each other face to face. And having found each other, let us stare and struggle, fight and forgive, call in and call out until me and you dissolves into us. Is there any other way we become whole?